How does God accomplish his work of sanctification? God accomplishes his work of sanctification in us through the process of suffering. And how does God do that? How does he change us in the present? How does he accomplish his work in our lives? You're not going to like the answer, but when you stop to look at it, you will agree that it makes sense. The Bible tells us that God accomplishes his work of sanctification in us through the process of suffering. Everyone in this life suffers. Job 5 verse 7 says, "Man is born to trouble as surely as a spark fly upward." No one is exempt from suffering. It is a part of your lot in this world. You cannot escape. Everyone suffers. However, you can choose whether to suffer as a Christian or as a non Christian. The non Christian has no promises attached to his suffering. His suffering serves no eternal purpose. It accomplishes no eternal glory. It does him no eternal good. However, the Christian suffers quite differently. The Christian may not escape suffering in the world, but he or she experiences it differently. As Christians, we have God's promise that God will in all things work for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. We have the assurance that God will be with us in every circumstance. Jesus told His disciples, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I've overcome the world." John 16, verse 33. And we have God's wonderful promise of peace and comfort in the midst of trial, as we read in 2 Corinthians 1, verses 3 and 4. Praise be to God, the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of compassion and the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our trouble, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves have received from God. And so, Paul says in Romans 5, verses 3 and 4, we not only rejoice in the hope of God's glory, but we also rejoice in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance character, and character hope. The word suffering in the verse 4 means a pressing together. It speaks of pressure, stress, tribulation, affliction, troubles. It does not refer to minor inconveniences, but real hardship. And Paul says that as Christians, when we go through these pressing, trying, difficult times, we should rejoice. We should exult in sufferings. Of course, this sounds strange. Most of us complain, while still others quietly and patiently endure. But Paul says that the Christian who understands what God is doing will actually glory in his afflictions. Why is Paul saying we should rejoice in our sufferings? Because we know that God is in control and He's working to achieve something in us through our suffering. Our trials are not without purpose. So, dear Christian, when you go through severe trial, understand that it's not a sign that God has abandoned you, but rather that God is doing His work for you, and the process is called sanctification. Be blessed.